Hey gang, X-Teen Featurette. I'm Chris. Today I'm going to be talking about a movie that I was sent for review by Arrow Video USA. This is The Forbidden Photos of a Lady Above Suspicion. It's a movie by Luciano Ercole, and I believe it's thought to be the first movie in the giallo genre. It's from 1970, and I really enjoyed this one. It was it was awesome. It was unlike anything that I've seen before. I'm really new to watching giallo movies in general. Most of the ones that I've seen I think have been Argento. This was the first Ercole movie that I've seen, and I was really impressed, so I will be watching more of his stuff in the future for sure. So on to the review. This was my first watch, and all I knew about it going in was the plot synopsis on the back. I didn't research it or anything. I knew that it was a giallo flick, but that's all I knew. So I'm going to read the plot synopsis and give a little commentary on that, and then I will get into all the awesome special features on this Arrow release because it was amazing. So our protagonist in this movie is Manu. Manu, she leads a pampered but dull life with her frequently absent husband Peter. One night while walking on the beachfront, Manu is accosted by a mysterious blackmailer who informs her that Peter is a murderer. Driven by misplaced loyalty to her husband, Manu gives in to the blackmailer's every perverted whim in exchange for his silence. But, as the blackmailer ups his ante, demanding that she submit to his increasingly obscene demands, can Manu hold on to what little remains of her sanity? I don't know. I've read some things about this movie after having watched it, where people say that it's not as stylistic as other giallo films, and maybe so, but I think that the next... Yeah, it says, before the influence of Dario Argento's Bird with the Crystal Plumage permeated every corner of the giallo genre, another strain of these distinctive Italian thrillers enjoyed considerable success. These melodrama gialli heavily inspired Le Diabolique. I don't know, I don't speak Italian. They relied less on graphic violence and high body counts and more on psychological tension. So yeah, this definitely was more about getting in your mind. It showed Manu, you know, having to question whether or not she's actually going insane. But compared to Bird with the Crystal Plumage, I guess it wasn't as stylistic as that. I did do a review on Bird with the Crystal Plumage in the past, by the way, another Arrow release. So check out my video on that. That is also a really awesome movie. Similar genre, but both very different. That one is more trippy, for sure. This one's more of like a... I would say it's more of like a mystery. So like the description said, Manu is a housewife, and her husband Peter works at... I think he like owns some weird like company that's doing something to test like scuba diving equipment, or they are doing something later on in the movie with like this like pressurization tank or something. So Manu is like bored and lonely. By the way, Manu and Peter's house is gorgeous, and all of the outfits that Manu wears are completely adorable. Like, they look like things that you would see Jackie O wearing or something. Like, very trendy dresses, like very high fashion. And I think that 70s fashion was really cool. This family was supposed to be well off because Peter was a businessman. So the style of their house and the cars they drive and what they wear is just really, it's really impressive. I don't know, it I guess adds to the fact that she's a bored housewife because she has like this perfect house, and you know, she's, I guess, a woman that lives in luxury. She says that she wants to quit smoking and drinking, so I guess she's trying to straighten out, but yeah, I mean, it really adds to, I think, the character. So you have Manu, she has a drink, she's unwinding, getting ready to go out, she gets ready, you know, and so she's taking a walk on the beach, and then some creep starts following her, and he eventually catches up with her, like cuts up her dress, and you're like, oh my god, she's gonna be assaulted right now. And she was not, but the creepy dude just says like, hey, your husband's a murderer. And she's like, okay. So she runs home, calls Peter, and says, you know, this just happened, can you come home as soon as possible? I don't know if it's just because it's taking place in the 70s, but the feeling that I get between Peter and Manu is that, you know, he kind of like writes her off all the time. And it's, you know, it's really weird because she's like an obedient wife and blah blah blah, and her husband's just kind of like desensitized to her, it seems. So it's a really weird dynamic, but I guess, you know, that's another time period. So then we meet Manu's friend Dominique, and she's like this just highly sexual woman. She's, you know, this like playgirl basically. Like this, there's this scene she's showing Manu all these photos of, you know, her like photography, like I guess she's a model, and all these people take like, you know, like boudoir pictures of her and just, you know, really classy sexual stuff. And and then Manu like asks her about her relationship with Peter, because I guess this, you know, sexual goddess had a relationship with Manu's husband prior to Manu and Peter. So Manu's sitting here like, you know, completely worried about her husband and this sexual beast, and the woman's like, oh, don't worry about it, it was a long time ago. And then it's like, you know, was it? But she's looking at these pictures, and then there's this picture of Dominique and this guy, and she recognizes him as the guy from the beach. And she's like, can I have this picture? And Dominique's like, oh, you freak. Yeah. So, yeah, so now she has, like, an ID of this guy that did this to her, and then he, like, comes back. The guy basically tells her that, you know, her husband killed a guy, and, you know, I'm going to, and he plays a recording. He says, I'm going to report it to the authority if you don't do what I say. And he, like, makes her come have, like, sex with him and stuff, and it was weird. I mean, it was not, like, porn, but it was very graphic. So he, like, blackmails her, you know, I have this tape, it's your husband confessing that he killed somebody, if you don't come have sex with me, like, if you don't come meet me and blah blah blah, do whatever I ask, I'm going to go to the authorities. So she does, she listens, she's like, oh my god, my Peter's a murderer, and she goes over there and has sex with this dude because, you know, of the blackmail. And then I guess he records it, gets some pictures of her, puts her in a compromising position, and is like, you dumbass, like, he didn't actually do that. This is just, like, I changed my voice to make you think it was your husband, ha ha ha. And it's not actually him on the tape. So, you know, you just had sex with me for no reason, now I have pictures. And then she's like, oh shit, well now I have this blackmail, and, you know, I can't let my husband find out. And, you know, it eventually comes out, and she's like, oh, you know, this happened, but it was to save you because he said that you were a murderer. And he was like, you actually thought that I was a murderer? And he's like scoffing at her. So it basically, you know, it gets to the point that this blackmailer guy is supposedly following her around, harassing her, but she doesn't know if he actually is there or if it's just like illusion. She doesn't know if she's actually losing her mind or if he's really there, because, you know, she'll see him like outside the window, but then she's like, oh my god, Peter, look, he's there, and then the guy disappears. So it's like, was he there, or is she literally just losing her mind? I don't know. You're gonna have to watch and find out for yourself. But yeah, that was pretty much this movie. But I will spoil one thing. So this is completely not related to like the main plot, so if you don't want to be spoiled, like, skip ahead. But Dominique's actually sleeping with Peter still, and it shows that, and that just, like, pissed me off so much. I'm like, really, Dominique? You're gonna do that to your homegirl? Come on. Okay. So, yeah, that pissed me off because Dominique was always there for Manu and looking out for her. You know, she's, like, the more level-headed one. You know, Manu's, like, fragile, and Dominique's supposed to be the strong one. She's looking out for her friend, and then you're sleeping with the girl's husband? Like, come on, Dominique. I don't like her. But that was, you know, the plot points that stuck out in my mind. But it was awesome. It was, you know, there's a couple plot twists in there that I did not divulge to you, and I suggest that you watch this because, it was a good one. If you do watch it, you know, give me a comment and let me know what you think, because I would love to talk about this in greater detail. Now on to the Arrow release. I'll talk about the packaging before I go into the special features and stuff. This is the new artwork. It says reversible sleeve featuring original and newly commissioned artwork by the Twins of Evil. So this is the new artwork, which I actually prefer, I think, to the original Italian artwork. I always feel that way with these Arrow releases for some reason. I know a lot of people switch it back to the original, but I usually leave it on the alternative artwork. I guess I'm just, you know, Americanized. So here is the... Okay. So here's the original Italian artwork. Very nice. Yeah. It's just kind of her, like, sitting there. So this is what it looks like when you open it. The disc has the new artwork on it. And there's a little insert with a bunch of the movies and stuff that you can get from the Arrow catalog. There's something on the back of it for The Horrors of Malformed Men. I've not seen that. This movie does come with a book, which is really awesome. So there's a snippet of the new artwork on the front of the book. The back of it has this really weird, like, demon or devil statue that was in the blackmailer's apartment. The contents of the book, it describes cast and crew. Every Maniac Has His Price, 2018 by Michael Mackenzie. Original reviews, compiled and translated by Roberto Curti, and about the restoration. There's some really awesome photographs and stills in here. There's a still of Minu on the beach getting her dress ripped open. I read through some of these reviews, and surprisingly, a lot of these were negative. An uncredited review from La Stampa, December 11th, 1970, says, "A dull giallo. It tries to make up for its plot by borrowing from the unusual repertoire of some erotic ambiguity." One says that the actors and atmosphere are so dull and ordinary that the final twist is rather disappointing, which I could not disagree with more. You know, but this review was written in 1971, and I thought the atmosphere was great, but then again, I'm watching this in 2019, so, you know, maybe 50 years later, it's almost like a period piece now, I suppose, so, I guess the whole 70s feel was, like, atmosphere enough for me. Yeah, I guess that's a fair argument. But no, the final twist was not disappointing. I think that person's just an elitist. A clumsy exercise in the craft of the psychological thriller. A review from Richard Combs in 1972. I don't think that it was. I mean, it might not be the most psychological, you know, movie that I've ever seen. But that's probably a good thing. I don't like incredibly, like, tripped out movies. This was definitely, it had me questioning Minu's sanity, and I think that it did a really good job of portraying that. So, you know, if you are into psychological thrillers and, you know, mysteries and stuff, I would really suggest this. So, special edition contents, what do we have? A brand new 2K restoration from the original camera negative by Arrow Films, and this transfer looks amazing. I've not watched it any other way, but this movie was filmed in 1970, and it looked phenomenal. So, you know, Arrow always does a great job with all of their restorations, and this is just another example of that. Original lossless mono, Italian and English soundtracks. English subtitles for the Italian soundtrack, which I didn't watch it in Italian. I do prefer subtitles because I feel like it gives... you know, it's the actor's voice, and they're the ones acting, and they're the ones, you know, putting emotion into an inflection into their voice. So I feel like whenever you translate something and then you have a voice actor try to recreate what's going on in the scene, I feel like sometimes something is lost along the way. I watched it in English, and it was, I mean, the English dub was great, but I just always prefer subtitles, so I'm gonna have to watch it again and see how that goes. New audio commentary by Kat Ellinger. Private Pictures, a newly edited documentary featuring archival interviews with actress Nieves Navarro and director Luciano Ercoli, and new interview material with writer Ernesto Gastaldi. Yeah, Ernesto Gastaldi also did Torso. The Forbidden soundtrack of The Big Three, the new appreciation of the music of forbidden photos and 70s Italian cult cinema by musician and soundtrack collector Lovely John. I don't know anything about Lovely John, but, you know, maybe I should. The Forbidden Lady, a Q&A with actress Dagmar Lassander, the actress who played Minu, at the 2016 Festival of Fantastic Films. The Festival of Fantastic Films. What an alliteration. Original Italian and English theatrical trailers, image gallery, reversible sleeve, featuring the newly commissioned art by the Twins of Evil, which we already talked about. So this is a 96-minute movie. That's my sweet spot. Can't go much longer than that. But this was amazing. I was talking about this with my dude Uzi Suicide 666, and you know, he recommended a bunch more giallo flicks for me to watch. A bunch are on Amazon Prime, surprisingly enough. I think a few Ercole flicks are on Amazon Prime too. I thank you for your other recommendations. And if you guys have anything that you would like to add, please do. Thank you again to Arrow Video USA for giving me the chance to review this. It was amazing. Greatly appreciated. Have you guys noticed that I don't do the whole like, comment, subscribe thing at the end of my videos? I think that it's silly because you're already watching it and you know how to use YouTube, so I don't have to instruct you to do so. But at the same time, maybe I should, because I am really awkward at ending my videos. I don't know what to say. Other than, thanks for watching this review, and I will have another one coming up on Bram Stoker's Shadow Builder, an MVD release. Ooh, looking forward to that. I hope you guys join me. Bye!